Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Old Bridge Township Council December 17th, 2024 meeting. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence and for our prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and tonight for all those who are suffering in Wisconsin from that horrific shooting. A moment of silence, please. Our prayer, Mr. Pasquitti.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve you in this chamber. Give us quiet minds and hearts that we may hear your voice. Help us to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give us strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right. Grant that we have a good conscience and a soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
Roll call, Council President.
Yes, please.
Councilman Asatuli.
Present.
Let the record reflect that Councilwoman DeCaro is absent. Councilman DePalma.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Councilman Desai is absent. Councilman Garcia.
Present.
Let the record reflect that Councilman Murphy is absent. Councilman Pasquitti.
Here.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Present.
And Council President Sohar.
Here.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the official newspapers of the Township on January 6, 2024, and has been posted in public places. The next open public meeting of the Township Council will be the reorganization meeting held on Tuesday, January 7, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'll begin with the Hometown Heroes banner program. Good evening. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Anna. How are you this evening? Casey, Barbara? Welcome.
As soon as I get my mic on. Good evening, Council. We've all driven through towns where we've seen military banners for honoring veterans on the poles. So last year when I was at the municipal conference down in Atlantic City, there was a vendor there, and he was showing these flags, and I said, oh, this is something we really need in Old Bridge. So I brought the brochure back with me, and I gave it to Kenny, and Casey, and and I tasked him with finding out about it, and Barbara and Casey, they took it and they ran with it. And tonight we have a wonderful presentation. I think you're going to all be happy. And we have some samples that we're going to pass out to the council. You want me to give these out as you're speaking? Absolutely. Okay, Casey's going to do a presentation.
Hello, Council. So when the mayor approached the Public Works Department with this, we were instantly excited. You know, I brought Barbara in and said, you know, we have this great program that we want to implement in Old Bridge Township and to honor all our veterans. If you've ever been to the municipal building, you could see all the pictures of the veterans through our hallways, and this is just another avenue to honor our veterans. So, like the mayor had said, a lot of different towns have these banners that they display from Memorial Day to Veterans Day, and then they'll be removed and then reinstalled the next year. So the banners have a lifespan of 3 to 5 years, and you know we want to definitely display them for a minimum of 3. And as they start to get worn, you know we'll give other residents an opportunity to display banners throughout the township. And we're really excited about it. So we're just going to give you some details right now. So the eligibility requirements that we've gone through a lot, because how do you choose, who's eligible and who's not eligible? It's very difficult, but we feel that the veterans that should be honored should reside in Old Bridge or have resided in Old Bridge at some point in their life. So on the application, we're actually going to have like an area where you would fill out and tell us the connection to Old Bridge. Both of my grandfathers served in World War II, and during that time, my one grandfather lived in Newark, the other lived in Staten Island, but then they moved to Old Bridge after the war, and that's where they raised their family and lived for the next 25 plus years. So that would be my family's connection to Old Bridge. So, first you have to have the connection to Old Bridge. This is open for all branches of the military, including reserves, National Guard. Everybody has done their part, so we want to give everybody an equal opportunity to, be honored. There's a couple different types of banners. There's active duty, there's veterans, and then there's also the memorial banners for soldiers that might have passed away in battle. So, those are the different types of banners, that will be displayed. So we need to start this program out kind of small. Obviously, we want to blow this thing up, but the first year is going to be our learning year. So we decided that within the municipal complex is probably the easiest location to display these banners, and we have availability for 50 banners to start out. And all the light poles going down 516, all the new light poles in Cottrell Road, they're prime location for these banners. And then also within the parking lot light poles. And depending on the location would depend on the height. So I believe the minimum requirement for like walking would be that the bottom of the banner is 9 feet tall. And then in the parking lot area, even though our poles are in the grass islands, they still want those at 15 feet just so a truck wouldn't accidentally hit them and damage them. So the banner design, there's a bunch of different banner designs. I personally like the one that we showed today, the nice dark blue with the flag. I think that's really nice. There's a couple, different ones with different colors and stuff like that. But, I think the mayor will have the ultimate decision on which banner design that we like, and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. The banner size is going to be 2 foot wide by 4 foot tall. So they're a nice size banner that even if the higher locations, you'll be able to see them, and it's really going to be something special. Like I mentioned, 50 applicants the first year. Potentially we could add more, but that 50 is where we're looking to start with. The township would purchase the hardware to hang these banners, and that's going to be reusable, and the resident would purchase the sign. We're still ironing out all the details, so I think it would be nice to have an option where after it's displayed the first year, you might want that banner back so you could display it at your house so your family could see it. So after we take it down the first season, if you request that, we could then turn the banner over to you since you purchased it. And if not, we would just put it back up the next year. We're really hoping to have everything in order by January 15th. That's our start date that we're really trying for. We just have to make sure with Mark and everybody else that we're able to get everything in order and do it properly. We don't want anybody questioning where the funds go or anything like that. So I think that pretty much covers up where we're at.
Did council have any comments or questions about it? We'll see if we get
I
help.
absolutely love it. Like resounding, I think it's fantastic. I think you honor them because they don't get enough credit. Because we wouldn't even be sitting on this dais if it wasn't for all of them. Active veterans, this is beautiful, man. It's a great job, buddy.
We're going to
Sincerely,
start
great
out
job.
like this, and we're going to see how it works out, and we might have to expand it, but we're going to eventually expand it to other parks and things like that, but we're going to start small and see how it goes. Because I've been to other towns where you go down the main street, and every light pole has, and it was absolutely beautiful, and that's how I got the idea. Then I saw it in Atlantic City, and I said, we have to have this.
Yeah, I absolutely love this idea. I see it in other towns, and it's great that we're going to do this. I have a question. If we, there's some disabled vets that just can't afford it. I mean, it would be able to do some sort of, like where we could chip in, and I mean, I don't know how much the
Well, I
banners
think
cost.
somebody could do maybe a fundraiser or something like that for the, there might be people willing to chip in for the
Yeah,
veteran?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. How,
Yes,
you know how much the banner is?
exactly. Other people could buy it. We're buying the hardware, and then this is the way it is done in other towns. The people buy the banner, like what Casey said. We run it for about 3 years. It flies, and then it's their banner.
And how much does it cost? Do you know the banner?
Was it
The current pricing is between $90 and $100.
Okay.
You know, it all depends on the quantity that you purchase as well, so that's more towards the January 15th date when we'll have all the details ironed out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, I don't have a question. I just think it's a great idea. It's phenomenal, and I wholeheartedly support it, and I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be beautiful, especially when you come into our municipal complex down 516, or even maybe the Lawrence Harbor area. So,
Yeah, any of the parks would be beautiful.
Mayor, can I just say something?
sure, of course.
I just wanted to say that this is in addition to the mayor's 5K that also honors our hometown heroes. So this is kind of go hands in hand with it. And when Mayor had mentioned that she had seen this, we happened to be at a Public Works Awards ceremony, and she kind of mentioned it in front of Casey and Barbara, who then took it, and literally the next day, like, oh, here, look, I found the vendor and I found this. So just want to say thank you to Casey and Barbara for taking the time to do the research and, you know, things like that. We even got pictures from other town to get some ideas, and we look forward to launching this in early '25.
Okay, that's so nice. Yep.
We definitely want to launch it this year. We hope to have the banners up for Memorial Day this year.
Very nice. Okay, great. Everybody good?
Yes. Uh-oh.
Yes, sure, absolutely.
Wait, it's going to come to a halt.
On the eligibility requirement, I think it's inferred, but when you say be an honorably discharged. I presume it's be or had been, right? Because that infers they're living, so. So if you're an honorably discharged veteran who had died, they're still eligible.
We're going to run it before you, before.
Yes, before the application goes out, correct.
There's going to be guidelines first, a page of all the guidelines, then a
No, I'm
page of
just,
the application.
right. I saw the eligibility. I presume that if you're honorably discharged veteran that had passed, you'd be eligible as well.
Correct.
Well, we're going to make sure it gets your okay.
Yes.
That's why we gave you the sample.
Okay, everybody good? Okay, I think it's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much, all of you, for all the input. It really seems to be a really great initiative. Thank you very much.
I want to thank Casey and Barbara for all their work. Like Anna said, we were at this event, and the next day, they already had so much information for us, and they did a wonderful job. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a statement for the record that Councilwoman DeCaro came into the meeting at 7:35.
Okay, next will be public hearing, H1, resolution authorizing issuance of a new hotel motel exception plenary retail consumption liquor license to Hook Mountain Associates, Limited Liability Company, DBA Hampton Hotel. Good evening. Do you have, come forward, please? And if you could give your name for the record?
Turn your mic on, please.
My name is Ken Kumar. I'm the general manager at the Hampton in Old Bridge.
So I just wanted to make a statement that the Hampton Inn has met all the requirements set forth in order to be issued a hotel motel exception liquor license. The township attorney, in conjunction with the council, had some concerns and placed some stipulations on the license, and our township attorney will go over them just to make sure that you understand what the stipulations are on the license.
Sure.
Thank you. So again, this is the first hotel exception license the township's issued. It's an exception to the regular course, where if you have at least a minimum of 100 rooms for a hotel, it's an exception that allows municipalities to issue a liquor license, plenary consumption license to the hotel motel owner. In this instance, it's Hook Mountain Associates LLC. We went through the bidding process that's required under the statute. and the applicant, again, paid the bid, met all background checks, and then one of the, and now it's the time to issue the license. And after reviewing the application and speaking with the municipal clerk, I thought that these conditions would be appropriate in this instance. And those are a new plenary retail consumption hotel motel exception license is issued to Hook Mountain Associates for the Hampton Inn located at 300 Spring Valley Road for the term December 17th to June 30th, 2024, because that's the time when you renew them. The licensee will be issued, the license will be issued as a hotel exception license for a facility containing 100 or more sleeping rooms, may only be used in connection with the existing hotel. Bartender service and sealed alcoholic beverages shall be permitted in the licensed hotel. Unless otherwise specified in the conditions, there shall be no possession and/or consumption of alcohol beverages outside of the licensed hotel. Alcoholic beverages may only be possessed and/or consumed in the area depicted on the sketch of the premises on file in the office of the clerk. As part of the application, the applicant did submit a sketch plan to show where the service areas would be, which is required under the statute. Unless otherwise specifically permitted, the possession or consumption of alcoholic beverages in the parking area shall be strictly prohibited. Again, because you don't want people going out beyond the hotel and drinking in the parking lot. There shall be no permanent outside bar area, portable bars, or similar structures, because again, the application is for the bar, and they can sell quote unquote packaged goods and have room service. So it's just within the hotel area. Any undue noise, amplified music, or sounds emanating from the licensed premises which violates the current Old Bridge Township noise ordinance shall be grounds for revocation of license. Township does have a noise ordinance. And again, we had not so much the hotel, but we ran into situations with other establishments that served liquor where it got boisterous, typically not for hotels, but figured we should be safe rather than sorry. Any use of the license beyond the existing hotel that is currently located and operating on the premises as of the date the license is issued shall be subject to prior review and approval by the Old Bridge Township Council, including without limitation any expansion of the existing hotel, whether said expansion is attached to the existing hotel or detached from the hotel. And really that's to address, because the property owner had indicated that there may be a pad site or future expansion for a separate area where he'd have events. So obviously the site plans, there's no site plan for that, so you wouldn't know how that would operate if there were an expansion. So it's being issued for an existing establishment. So I thought it would be appropriate before if there were an expansion or there was a pad site, something constructed on site, that you all would have an opportunity to review that before allowing it to be used in that area. No renewal or transfer of the license shall be allowed except forward to a hotel containing at least 100 guest rooms, because it's an exception. So I think that is the totality of the additional conditions that would be associated with the issuance of the license. And then it includes, obviously, prior to opening for business, the licensee has to file with the clerk the sketch plan, which they did, which shows the tables, bars, stairs, stairwells, stairways, fire exits. And again, that's not supposed to be, that will not be changed without further approval by council. And then there's also a requirement in the statute that anyone who, any personnel, if they're going to serve license, that they have to complete a techniques of alcohol management or a course. So again, that's a statutory requirement. Any
Everything's
questions?
good. We agree with that. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Does anyone from the council wish to be heard about this, have any questions? Okay, since I open it up to the public, is there anyone in public who wishes to be heard about this, on this topic? Okay, it's closed. I'll close the public portion, and I'll ask for a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg-Belli, second by Mr. DePalma.
Roll call. Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquitti?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
Yes.
And Council President Sullivan?
Yes,
Thank you.
Best wishes to you.
very good.
Good holidays.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you, council. Thank you, President.
Yep.
Thank you, Vice President. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for, and hopefully we will hold all these restrictions in place, and we will make sure we create a conducive atmosphere in the hotel.
Good luck
Thank
with
you.
it.
Thank you so
All the
much.
best to you.
Thank you.
Holidays.
Holiday.
Thank you.
Next is H2, NJDEP Green Acres Program, Urban Parks Grant Application, Mannino Park Improvements. Good evening. Good evening, Nicole, Matt, Anna, Maya.
Thank you, Council.
Good, okay.
Thank you, Council. So we're here tonight for a public hearing for NJDEP Green Acres Program Urban Park Grants Application. And you might be familiar because we were sitting in the same exact spot in late January earlier this year on two applications, one for Ticetown Road Park and then another one for Gike Park Inclusive Playground. And so when we were here that time, I did explain to you that part of the Green Acres application process is that we have this public hearing. They want to see if there's feedback from our council, from our mayor, administration, and from the public. And so here we are tonight on a different application. What's unique about this application, it's a park that qualifies for Urban Park Grant application, which means that 100% of the project would be funded with the grants application should we succeed, which is really nice. So part of the public hearing checklist or requirements are up on the screen. The public hearing has to be held in the evening after 6 p.m., has to be in front of our governing body, has to give an opportunity for our public to speak on the application. The packet for the application has to be posted on our website. Instead of doing it 10 days prior, we actually did it a month or even 6 weeks early, where we had the application itself, environmental report, our cost estimate, and our concept plan on there. And then eventually, when this presentation was completed, we did post it on our online project website. We are attended by a quorum of the governing body. Our concept plan is ready to be shown tonight, and we have that. We did prepare an environmental impact assessment report that I do have some highlights on, but there are no alternatives because we are out of any environmentally sensitive areas. Once we're completed with the presentation, you'll see at tonight's consent agenda, there's an enabling resolution that allows the mayor and the clerk to submit the application should you deem that fit. And then minutes are going to be prepared for the application and should be presented at the January 7, 2025 meeting for a vote. What we have on the screen is the project location, and north is in the up direction or to the top of the page. And everybody's familiar with Mannino Park. It's located off of County Route 516. It is east of New Jersey State Highway Route 18, and then west of New Jersey State Highway Route 9. And it's right across, the entrance is right across the street from Owens Road, and it's accessed by Mannino Park Drive. And then also within the park's boundary is the YMCA for the township. Located on block 8005, lot 6. I have the tax map in front of you as part of the requirements. The concept plan, we had assistance from French and Perlow Associates. You might be familiar with them. They did help us with the design and construction inspection for the baseball fields. to complete sort of the pinwheel around the original concept for the park. The fields are dark in there, but they are existing. I think we highlight them because we're so proud of them. And then if you see on the northern part of the sheet, you'll see a cluster of dark green. That's plantings, that's tree planting. What we're gonna do there is we're gonna demolish the existing playground there, and then we're gonna relocate it closer to the larger parking lot in the lower left-hand corner in that green space. The idea is to update the playground itself, just to move it away from the environmentally sensitive areas on, and I flipped the plan, so north is now to the left. So on the eastern side of the property, there's some wetlands in that area, so we want to just get the park away from there. We still want to keep it located within that pinwheel area. It makes it easier for the parents to have their kids, one, not cross into a parking lot to get to the playground feature, and then it also they can keep an eye on them while their siblings are playing at the baseball fields. Also at that northern side, we're gonna put a full-size basketball court. In addition, lower right-hand corner, just left of that FPA logo, you'll see a brown square. That square actually shows 2 bocce ball courts that will be illuminated. And so the basketball field will be illuminated, the bocce ball courts will be illuminated, and then I don't know if I mentioned it, the playground field will be in the shape of a baseball field. Field? Yes. Diamond. Okay, sorry.
As long as you don't say court, we're good.
Yes, I'm sorry. My husband would be very disappointed. So these are just preliminary renderings. This is from a plan area view of what the park would look like. There is, on the next slide, this is, so you get that baseball field feel on this, and then you could see kind of the side view of like the scoreboard. This is nice too. Ignore that climber has a football guy. Just picture a baseball guy there. And just, what happened? Yeah, no, I plead the fifth on that, Councilman Garcia. So the football guy is not gonna be there, it's gonna be a baseball guy. And then you could see that this is rectangular, it's gonna be in the shape of the diamond. And so then here you get a view of like the fake scoreboard that they're trying to do. It's actually phases of the moon instead of a score there. And then, you know, Matt has looked at this preliminarily, but he's gonna really wanna dive into what does the park feature have out there, and we wanna make sure the proposed is more or better, right? And it takes care of all age groups, right? The next, isn't this nice? I don't play bocce ball, I might. We're proposing 2, they're gonna be illuminated. So the lights are gonna go in the center so that they can take care of 2 courts. One has to be ADA. My suggestion is just to make them both ADA compliant. It's an easy ask and an easy do. But this is really the try and feel of what we're going for when we're talking about the bocce courts. We tried to segregate it just so that when they're parking for the bocce ball courts, there's ample parking and they're not conflicting with those coming to the baseball games, et cetera. The cost estimate for this is $900,185. And so if we're successful with the grant application, we're hoping to be fully funded with the NJDEP grant. The environmental impact assessment was pretty easy because the park features are already in, you know, cleared areas. So there's nothing that we're not taking down any trees. A couple of trees in the bocce ball court area, but they're less than 4.5-inch diameter at breast height, so they don't count in the eyes of Green Acres, so we don't have that listed on their forms. They're outside any freshwater wetlands, state open waters, so we're good in that regard. The short-term impacts are just a soil disturbance when we're doing the excavation, but everything that's going to be disturbed, we're going to seed, fertilize, and we're going to stabilize once complete. We believe that once this project is complete, it's going to attract a broader range of just like clientele from the park. It's not even going to be Old Bridge Township. It could even be regional because of all the park features. So the next steps after this is we're going to ask council, and I think it's C3 on tonight's consent agenda, to pass a resolution enabling the mayor and our clerk to sign the Green Acres Program application for the urban park, application for Mannino Park. Draft minutes from tonight's meetings will be prepared and presented to you at the January 7th, 2025 meeting, and then it will be ready for submission to Green Acres on February 5th, 2025. So with that, I ask if council has any questions, and then if we could open it up to the public.
I do. There's a. She said any questions, so. Okay. Good. Okay. I don't know, I get excited because I think we're in the house all the time. We talked about this, right, Matt, at the Park and Rec, and kids are in the house, and everybody's home, and everybody's on their phones, and this is an opportunity for everybody to get out. You know, keep America healthy. This is part of it. This is part of getting out, playing bocce ball, community, you know, working out, watching baseball. You know, it's exciting because there's so much going on with these kids especially, and people really just staying home. It's time for them to come outside and enjoy the fresh air and come in here. I mean, so many people are so excited. I talked to a lot of people in town. They're like, oh, but just everybody wants to come here. I mean that sincerely. I do. We real estate people are moving here because it's a hot place. And whoever's thinking of these things, great job. Because you're really thinking about the residents. And from my standpoint, I really appreciate it. I think it's going to be fantastic. Sincerely. Thank you all.
Okay, anybody on my left have a comment or a question? Okay, I'll start with Eric and then I'll go to you. That's fine. Oh, okay.
No, that's okay. No, I just wanted to say I think it's a great idea, and I think it would be awesome if we can get the entire grant, you know, get the funding for the whole thing from the grant, and I think it's great that the state is offering this, you know, and is this something that obviously we have to apply for? Right, obviously that's what you just were talking about. But no, I just think it's wonderful, and I'm glad that you're doing it, and I'm glad that you're taking advantage of the grant from the state. I think it's wonderful. Good job. Great.
Yeah, so 2 questions. Nicole, you said that this would be or it can be covered by the full grant. So let's just say, let's just say they only give you $500,000.
In my past experience, especially like, for example, Guyk Park, that fully all-inclusive, what they do is if there's a 25% cost match, they take our cost estimate, subtract the 25% out, and grant us that. Because this qualifies for an urban grant, then we're qualified for the full amount.
Okay.
So I don't see why they would give us less than the amount unless there's a big pool of people or townships that are submitting a lot of different applications and they want to give everybody a bite at the apple. But, you know, hopefully we were very successful when it came to Guyk Park. So I think we're all very hopeful.
And second, so Matt, will this be presented to the rec board come January to discuss the plans and what's there? Because obviously I think we should get their input to ensure that what we're putting is really, there's certain things where they are, and having a singular basketball court versus multiple basketball courts, that just something that we'd want to make sure that the rec board's opining on.
Anyone else on my right?
Yes, one question. If we get the funding, when does this start? How does that work? If we get the funding by February, when can we start? Because I think it's great.
No.
No, we're gonna submit.
Finish everything that we have to do and then submit to them by February 5th of 2025. And at that point, we would be at their discretion of when those funds are going to be released. Nicole, do you recall what the time frame was on Guyk Park?
Was it this summer? It was around July when we find out.
3 months, 3-4 months.
Makes sense.
No, because then I would need a consultant to do the survey, and then they would prepare plans, specs, estimate. I'm not sure we would keep it in-house. We may, depending on our workload in the engineering department. Once that goes, so probably spring of 2026.
And another question, maybe Matt knows better. The slides, you know, the playground slides. I know that years ago they had the metal ones that got burnt. The plastic ones are just as hot.
Correct.
Is there anything else comparable that the kids can use without getting burnt? In a
So
sense?
you could
They
always
make that.
you could always do shade structures over it. I know that was something that we had discussed when Cottrell had opened, because obviously we opened it on probably the hottest day of 2024. But we reached out to all of our counterparts, whether they are in public recreation, private recreation, school, anything like that. That's why we have signs there that said you should touch it before you go on. They are less hot than what some of us grew up going down on the metal ones, but the ones that are in full sun are still hot. So that's why you'll see signs saying, exactly.
Do they make such a product where it doesn't get hot?
Not at all, I mean, not, okay. All right, anyone else over here on my right? Anyone? Mr. Pasquetti?
Yeah, just want to thank you so much for the efforts to do something like this. It's really wonderful, you know, to add to Old Bridge. Thank you.
Anyone else? Dr.
No,
Green?
I think it's great, especially having the playground near the baseball fields, because I know when parents bring their kids, their other kids need to run around and do stuff too. But most of all, to hear that it's going to take, I know government moves slow and things take a while, which we understand the process, but I know the people for the bocce ball are so anxious, you know, if I tell them, oh, we're getting bocce balls, I say, in a year, they're like, what? You know, but so hopefully that comes through and they're happy with the plan. Thank you for all your work.
That's really good. Everybody good? It's exciting. I think it's going to be a big positive for the town. Do you know, Nicole, time-wise, as far as learning whether or not the grant was approved? What kind of process? How long about?
July that we found, it was definitely warm out, it was summertime when
Right,
we found
okay.
out.
So
if
just-
we're following the same time frame as this, about 5 months from when we submit, we should
Right.
hear back.
Yeah, okay, so that's not, it's not an unreasonable amount of time. Hopefully, the sooner the better, but, I think people, if they know that it's been approved and we're going to start moving on it, people will be very excited, Well, thank you all again for doing all this hard work and finding these grants, all of you. Thank you very, very much. I'll open it to the public. Is anyone in public? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's
Mayor,
okay.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, if any of you have been to Mannino and seen the playground, it's like by a wooded area, it's kind of buggy, and the pickleball courts are there, and the pickleball players tend to put all their chairs over there, and sometimes there could be some cursing, and it's just bad for the kids. So the fact that we're moving it over by the ball fields is a much better location, and then this way their siblings could be playing while they're playing. And also, as far as the bocce courts, I had a lot of people come up to me and had asked me about bocce courts, and I mentioned it to Nicole, and within that day, they had sent me pictures of what it would look like, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy, because we're trying to make Mannino like a go-to park where we have everything. We'll have the basketball, we have pickleball, baseball, bocce, and we have the room there. So, that's what we're trying to make it, a nice go-to park. And I just want to thank Nicole and Fred for all their hard work.
Anyone else? Nicole, add anything? You guys are all good? Okay. And I'm going to open it to the public. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to be heard about this topic? Okay, seeing no hands, I'll close the public, and I'll ask for a motion. Move it. Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second. DH1, no, don't we have to?
Did we go to public?
Everything? Okay, so just that part, okay, perfect, all right. I just wanted to make sure I followed the protocol.
Thank you.
You don't want that to not get messed up. Okay. Still be approval of minutes, resolution approving executive session minutes of January 16, 2024, February 6, 2024, February 27, 2024, March 12, 2024, March 26, 2024, April 9th, 2024, April 30th, 2024, June 25th, 2024, and July 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Move it. Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Asatuli.
Roll
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquity?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Bill list, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Bill list as of December 17, 2024. Accounts payable, December 17, 2024, $1,649,715.24. Payroll, December 6, 2024, $1,279,443.07. Payroll overtime, December 6, 2024, $42,487.65. That completes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we have a breakdown of the overtime, please, Anna?
Sure. We did not have any major upticks in this last payroll for overtime. The sworn police overtime for this pay period was $25,934.80. Deduct grants, $1,391.95. Deduct ETO, $7,817.97 for a total of $16,724.88, which resulted in 207 men and women hours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Pasquity.
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquity?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Next will be ordinances for second reading, H1, refunding bond ordinance providing for the refunding of an emergency appropriation related to the settlement of litigation pertaining to Raritan Bay Slag Superfund site, appropriating $7 million, therefore authorizing the issuance of $7 million bonds or notes for the township for financing the cost thereof. Does anyone on the council have a question or a comment? Dr. Greenberg?
Yes. My comment is this, and I'm sure everyone else up here is very frustrated, that we have no choice, we had no choice but to deal with this and to pay $7 million for something that happened 40 years ago, which was under the permission of the federal government. If the federal government didn't give permission for that lead to be placed there, we wouldn't even be discussing this. So to me, that we have to go out and bond for this, the onus is on the federal government. So I wish, and my hope, I voted for it. I've had many sleepless nights about this since I voted for it, because we were like, had no choice pretty much, because we want to do right by the town and we want to clean up that area. But to me, the federal government wastes so much money on other things for $7 million, which is the fault, no fault of our own, but the fault of the federal government. It is ridiculous that we find ourselves in this situation, and I wish we could revisit it and go after the federal government, that they would come through and help us.
Anyone else have a comment? Sister Carol?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Mr. Rosselli to give a little summation, because I don't know that everyone really understands what this is about, so if maybe we can just kind of give a little background story of what exactly this is. $7 million is a lot, and I think we should,
Sure, I'll do-
we've talked about it before, but maybe just for, yeah.
Right, this goes back, actually, when the council voted to settle or approve the consent decree with the Department of Justice as it relates to enforcement actions relative to the Raritan Bay Slag Superfund site. So again, that's the Superfund site was designated, in I guess in early 2000, if I recall, but it goes back to a beach restoration program that started in the late 60s, early 70s, as Dr. Greenberg Belli had spoken about. And it was under the jurisdiction, interestingly enough, of the Army Corps of Engineers and New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, actually. And the plan was put together, and as part of that plan, to help relative to making sure the beach head didn't wash away, they came up with a plan that had a steel plate. The steel plate was comprised of metals that allegedly came from National Lead Industries and/or other subsidiaries or entities associated with National Lead. Fast forward early 2000s, the lead wall apparently started to leach in that area. The New Jersey Environmental Protection Agency started studying the area, determined the area was a Superfund site, and initially there was a administrative consent decree entered by the Environmental Protection Agency relative to how the site would be cleaned up. Once that process starts, the federal government then seeks to gather all the potential responsible parties to clean up the site. Now, how Old Bridge became involved in it was that some of the lands were obtained by the township through either tax foreclosure and/or by deeds in lieu of foreclosure. The enforcement action was basically there's a federal, it's known as CERCLA, that's the acronym. I think, that was something that came about in the 80s, but it's a mechanism by which federal law allows these Superfund sites to be cleaned up. And because the township was in the chain of title, they were deemed a potential responsible party. Over a number of years, National Lead, who was the one of the prime responsible parties for allegedly producing the metal, then filed a lawsuit against the township and other governmental entities and parties back in 2013, where they sought these other potential responsible parties to contribute to the cleanup cost. Initially, National Lead was putting together a cleanup plan, but that plan had to be approved by the federal government. That litigation and those discussions relative to the cleanup went on for a number of years. The federal litigation that was started by National Lead was stayed while the parties, when I mediated, and the parties included various federal governmental agencies, various federal state agencies, the Township of Old Bridge, and then there were a number of other subsidiary entities associated with National Lead. Again, that started sometime, I would say, approximately 2014, 2015. Negotiations, discussion through mediation continued. At one point, we thought that a final plan was going to be approved in which the township's liability would have been a lot less. Because on top of that, the township had insurance coverage, and the thought was that we'd be able to obtain from the insurance companies the monies needed for the town's share of the cost. Federal government decided that they didn't like the plan that National Lead was proposing, so then they rejected National Lead's efforts to lead the cleanup, and the federal government decided that they were going to clean up the site. That escalated the costs. It went from initially estimating costs to be about 76 million to over 200 million. And then as recently 2022, the federal government then indicated to the parties that they, unless the parties settled, that they were going to commence an enforcement action separate and apart from the National Lead litigation. So at that point, again, with part of the mediator, they came and basically determined what every party's liability was. So the town's expected exposure went from between $4 to $6 million to $23,300,000. And so basically, the federal government indicated that unless the parties settled, whoever didn't settle, that they would go against that particular party for the balance, right? So if they estimated the cleanup to be $200 million, whatever money that they didn't recover, and it's a little complicated, but under the federal law, that they could seek to have, for instance, Old Bridge pay the balance of whatever they didn't get in as part of the settlement. So initially, the township's liability was $23,300,000. As part of negotiations, I was able to obtain a little over $2 million credit from a carrier who had gone bankrupt with the assistance of the federal government. So that ultimately reduced the town's liability to $21,100,000. And in addition, I think the state government also agreed to pick up an additional $1 million. So then the balance of $21,100,000, we had outside counsel, so we commenced a series of negotiations with some of the carriers that we had insurance with. What complicated the insurance carrier issue was that at the same time, there was another environmental litigation that some of these same carriers who were involved in this litigation were also involved in that litigation, and this other litigation, those policies were exhausted. So that reduces the available bucket of insurance funds that we could obtain. Long story short, we settled with, I believe, a group of 9 or 10 carriers where they're paying almost $15 million, and the difference between the $15 million and the 21.1 is the township share. So that's how we got to the $7 million.
Else have a question? Anybody? No? You have a question?
Not a question, just say that it is very convoluted, and that this is, as you said, by the timeline, this has gone back. If they cleaned it up X amount of years ago, it would have cost much less. We were told by the federal government all the time when they came down there, the EPA, what they were going to do. So now you're telling, like, you know, the federal government nor the state wastes enough money as it is. It doesn't matter, but we didn't give anyone permission to put things there. So that's what's very frustrating to me, that we're held liable because someone else granted permission for something that we didn't do. You know, so it's very disconcerting to me that we have to come up with this money where I think the state, the federal government, the EPA, whatever, should give money. We send enough money to the federal government, they should kick money back. So that's all I want to say, and I'm very sorry that we have to do this.
Yeah, I just in closing, before we do that, I open up public. I just agree. This can has been kicked down the highway for how many years? And as a result of that, of course, everything escalated. The cost of what's the cleanup is escalated. So here we sit. None of us were here for any of this, but we have to come to resolution. That's our responsibility to the residents. So that's why this is where we're at now. And as Dr. Greenberg Belli said, we really, federal government, really state government, county government, kind of feel like we were abandoned in this one, because we have appealed to everyone to please try and help us. $7 million for this township is an extraordinary, a lot of money. And for us to be able to handle this and hopefully, you know, take care of the situation and put it to rest. But people, the residents should know, this has been going on how many years, Mark?
Well, the litigation started in 2013, but I think the Superfund, the ACO, was in the early 2000s, I believe, right? You're right.
Yeah, so
it's
this
been
is
for some
something, yeah, a long time, and we can't kick this can anymore. We have to finish this. So again, I'm not happy with it either. I don't think anybody is. Do you have something to say, Mr. Japama?
I'm sorry, Council President. Just one thing for the residents that are listening and watching this, whether it's live or in the future, reach out to Mr. Pallone, Mrs. Watson-Coleman, Senator Booker, and Senator Kim, to voice your displeasure with the fact that they are not coming to assist, right? Everyone's quick to take photo ops, as I've said before, with little things that happen. This is something that will greatly benefit this township and its taxpayers if they come in and they help. So make sure you reach out to those representatives. There's only so much that the 9 of us can do up here, in addition with the mayor, to get that done. Reach out to them. You know, the power of the voter is a very powerful tool. So I implore everyone who's listening to this, tell you, to reach out to them, tell your neighbors to reach out to them. The more folks that do, the better it is for us. I know that I personally will be as well.
Council President, could I say something?
Yeah.
So I was going to the CAG meeting since I believe about 2008, and I've been following this. And when we were told how much we were going to be liable for, I reached out to Congressman Pallone on numerous occasions, and I could not get him to call me back. Finally, at one point, they told me he would give me 5 minutes of my time, and just 5 minutes, that was it. And when I tried to explain to him that this was a large amount of money for a small town like Old Bridge, for our taxpayers to bear $7 million, and we thought it could be up to $10 million, and he just didn't care. And like Councilman DePalma said, every single photo op down at the beach, he is there. But when we needed him, he was not there for us, and I want everyone to remember that, because he represents this area. And for the federal government, $7 million is a drop in the bucket. But for Old Bridge taxpayers, it's a lot of money. And I believe the judge said that it has to be at least $50 per resident.
That's actually local finance board. I was going to get this later, but as part of the, before the town, when he borrowed money, part of the process was the township had a hearing in front of the local finance board for them to approve a payback period. And ultimately, it was, Dawn, you correct me if I'm wrong, it was 6 years plus 1, right? Right. So they approved a 6-year payback period, and that's so you spread it out, right? So you're not paying all at the same time. And we worked with our financial consultant, Dawn, and our bond counsel. Local finance board approved the payout schedule. But one of the requirements is that there's a floor that where the impact can't be less than, and that floor is $50 per household. So we met that basically $50 on that 6-year payback, and then ultimately you'll see. I think the idea is to make a payment next year, issue a note, and then ultimately combine this debt with other debt, and for long term. But so yeah, there were so many factors in this. Under CERCLA and under EPA cleanup law, just the way the law is, as a property owner, there's strict liability means you're liable. Didn't mean the town didn't have defenses. What they had defenses. So when you go through this process, there's the cost benefit. Obtaining coverage now or continuing to litigate, potentially being responsible or liable for hundreds of millions of dollars versus, ultimately, which is, well, we borrowed 7, I think ultimately it's going to be less than 7. I think that was one of the situations where what could have been and where you were, while it's a hard pill to swallow, it certainly is a lot better than where we could have been. And then the cost of continuing litigation for a number of years. And, and any attorney will say, you just never know litigation. So.
But you brought up another good point. Just now
It's truly, I understand everything that you're saying, and I want to thank you for the job that you've done. But it's just mind-boggling that we are in 2024, and this started when they deposited this lead here. And if it's such a grave situation, why did they wait all this time? So it's just wrong. And in fact, it's like if you're in a car accident, your insurance takes care of it, and they figure out who owes what later. They could have taken care of it. It would have been a lot less. It would have been done, and the people who live in that area could have enjoyed the beachfront for 30 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's crazy. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I just want to thank Mark for all of his work that he did on this. He really helped us save a lot of money. I'm very disappointed in the state and the federal government, though, for not helping Old Bridge.
No, not at all. Well, thank you all very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. If anyone wishes to be heard on this topic, please come forward now. Okay, seeing no hands, I'll close the public portion. All right. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
I'll move it.
Silence.
Second.
Move.
Dr. Councilman DePalma.
Right, and
Second.
Mr. Pescetti, was it? Okay.
Roll call. Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquitti?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Reluctantly, yes.
and Council President Sohar.
Yep.
7
Yes.
yeses.
Okay. H2, ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge, amending Chapter 273 of the Township Code entitled Lunch Wagons Mobile. Okay, anyone on council have a question? Mr. DePalma.
So in working with Vina and the attorney as well as our clerk, hopefully this cleans up some of the language and doesn't more or less preclude food trucks from coming in. I think our ordinance meant well in the past, but the application of it was extremely difficult for one of those businesses to do so. A 500-foot perimeter of a particular property, so let's just use, I'll use the Home Depot lot. It's Home Depot and Walmart is one contiguous lot, so 500 feet completely around that, you would have to send out letters and all of that stuff. These are very, very small businesses. Some of them are upstarts. So I hope this allows those businesses to begin to come here. Obviously, we're eliminating it for the time being, but hopefully this helps it and helps those businesses come along.
Anyone else have a comment or a question? Okay, seeing no hands, I'll open it to the public. Anyone in the public wishes to be heard on this? Seeing no hands, I'll close the public portion. I'll ask for a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. DePalma, second by Mr. Asatuli.
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquini?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
And Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Consent agenda, I'd ask for a motion in a second, and we'll bring it back for separation. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, here it is, yeah, H3. Okay. Ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge amending Chapter 347 on the Township Code entitled Article 1, Solicitors, Peddlers, Auctioneers, Junk Dealers, and Used Car Lots. Does anyone from the council have a question?
No, this is just a it's a companion ordinance to the food truck or
Right.
food wagon ordinance because things had to change here because it's stated in that, so it's just a companion.
Yeah, okay. Anyone in the public wish to be heard? We're good? Okay, I'll have a motion.
Move it.
Second? Okay. Moved by Mr. DePalma. Okay.
Second by Councilman Asatuli?
Yep.
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquini?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay. Now consent agenda. I'll ask for a motion, a second, and bring it back for separations.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second.
Second.
Okay.
Councilman Asatuli. So we're going to,
Vote, we're gonna now.
for removal?
Yeah.
Councilman Asatuli, any items for removal?
Separation.
Separation?
No, thank you.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes. C-17?
C-17. Councilman DePalma, any items for separation?
No, thank you.
Councilman Garcia?
I have none, thank you.
Councilman Pasquini?
No separations, thank you.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Thank you.
And Council President Sohar?
No, thank you. Okay, so we'll vote on the consent agenda, separating out C-17.
Roll call. Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquini? Yes. Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Council President Sohar?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay, next will be C-17, Mrs. DeCaro.
Yeah, nothing really. I just wanted to know, it's authorizing the submission of the updated NJDEP Green Acres Program Recreation and Open Space Inventory, and I was just wondering when that does get submitted, if we can get a copy of that? Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so then,
Yeah, I'm just curious as to,
Yeah.
I would just like to see that. Yeah.
oh, that's fine. Do you make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to move it.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Motion by Mrs. DeCaro, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Roll call. Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman DePalma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquity.
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
Council President Sohar.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay, next will be non-consent agenda, C1. Can you tell us, please?
So if you recall, we had the hearing back on November 14th relative to the remand by the court relative to the appeal of the grant of the use variance by the zoning board in connection with the Edward Testino LLC for 121 Route 34, Old Bridge, New Jersey, Block 4187, Lot 311, zoning board application 12-21Z. If you also recall that I indicated that a resolution would be drafted memorializing the action of the council, basically where you, again, previously had reversed the zoning board's decision, indicating that the applicant hadn't provided sufficient proofs for the grant of a D1 variance. This is a resolution that encompasses the legal, the factual findings and conclusions that were requested by the court. So like anything else, you will be voting on the resolution. Those who are able to vote would not include Mr. Astoli. He hadn't participated previously, wasn't at the November 14th hearing. So and I don't think you reviewed the record. You'd have to review the record from back there. So you should just abstain on the roll call. And I believe, Mr. Caro, at the time, you had abstained on the vote at that hearing. So you would follow as well as far as the resolution. You can abstain since while you participated, I think you abstained on the roll call at that vote.
I did abstain, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, any council member can make comments. You have a motion to make, yep.
Okay, is everyone on the council clear on what the C1 non-agenda item means? Okay, so I need a motion.
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pasquetti, second by Mr. Asatuli. I can,
No, you shouldn't second.
right, no, you can't.
No.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. DePalma, yeah, because you're not voting.
Okay. Roll call. Councilman Asatuli.
Abstain.
Council, you want to comment?
No, I think Mr. Caro said you wanted to comment.
Yes, I did, thank you. So, yes, you mentioned that I abstained at the last, when we discussed this at the special meeting. And the reason I abstained is because, and again, I know you're going to tell me we're past this, I know. But the reason I abstained is because I just didn't think that it should have been a thing at all to begin with. And the reason I say that is what concerns me is that we are taking the decision of the zoning board and the fact the original complaint was inaccurate. The original complaint had said that the zoning board didn't follow the advice of the professionals when, and I know we're not supposed to read the thing, they weren't sworn in, but the professionals never advised not to do this. So the entire complaint was frivolous. And I don't think that it should have even gotten to the point. I don't think that the original overturning of the decision should have happened. And it concerns me when we do that because, the people on the zoning board, we respect them. They're volunteers. They do a lot of training. I know that they spend a lot of time learning about the zoning laws. They grant variances very, very often. And I don't think that that we should be in the business of, just overturning a decision that really had no bearing to even be complained about. And that's why I abstained from my vote the last time. And, I am abstaining, I guess, this time as well. If I wasn't abstaining, I would be voting no. I don't think it's right. And, I'd be curious as to how many other times we have overturned a zoning board decision. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else have a question?
not that, it's just so, because again, some people might understand, is that the appeal process is set forth in the municipal land use law and the township code, where there's two avenues that allows an interested party to file an appeal when a use variance is granted. You can either go directly to the court, or you can file an appeal to the governing body. And that's how that, after the use variance was granted, that's how it came in front of the council. So it was a process that's permitted by law, and then in accordance with the provisions of the law, that was followed. And so that's how we got here. So I just wanted to respond to that.
Okay, are we all good? Anyone else? Dr. Greenberg?
We were in the middle of voting.
In that light, I just want to say there are things that are reversed, and in fact, when the developer doesn't get the right response that he, feels that is justified, he has the right to go to a judge. So this came to us basically because we realized that the zone that it was in didn't go along with our master plan, and that's how that decision was.
Yeah, well, it came to you because an interested party filed the appeal, right? And then once that happens, you sit like a court of law and you review it de novo. So that was a process.
But it wasn't a developer that filed the appeal, it was an unrelated party.
Yeah, so the roll call, let's have the roll call.
Okay. Roll call. Councilman
Roll call.
Asatuli.
Abstain.
Councilwoman DeCaro.
Abstain.
Councilman De Palma.
Yes.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes.
Councilman Pasquini.
The applicant was a resident of Old Bridge. That makes him part of the town, and he had a right to appeal. Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes.
And Council President Sohar.
Yes.
5 yeses, 2 abstentions.
Okay, report of the township clerk,
I have no report.
report of the township attorney.
I gave it earlier on the local finance board hearing.
Okay, thank you. Administrative report, Anna?
Yes, thank you. Number 1, Christmas tree collection. Christmas trees will be picked up in all wards beginning the week of January 6, 2025. For the full schedule, please visit oldbridge.com/recycling. Number 2, Ice Arena. Our Ice Arena is in full swing for the season and will be open until March 2025. The holidays are a perfect time to enjoy skating. Extra public sessions are available during the holidays. Please come out to any of our public skating sessions. The full public session list, which includes dates, times, fees, are available on our website at oldbridge.com/recreation. Number 3, rabies vaccination clinic. In partnership with Middlesex County, the Township Clerk's Office held a rabies vaccination clinic for dogs and cats on December 7, 2024, in the Public Works Garage. From what I understand, we had a very good turnout, so I think our last-minute push helped out. The Clerk's Office is already working on next year's clinic. For information on future clinics, please visit oldbridge.com/rabies-clinic. Pet licenses for 2025 are now available for Old Bridge residents and should be obtained no later than February 1st, 2025. After this date, a late fee will be incurred. For more information and to obtain a pet license application, please visit oldbridge.com/clerk. Finally, Old Bridge PBA Local 127-127A hosts annual Cup for Kids holiday party. We would like to take a moment to recognize our local PBA 127 and 127A for hosting their annual Cops for Kids holiday party in a collaboration with the Old Bridge Food Bank. This year's event was once again organized by Sergeant Jim Ford and members of local PBA 127 and 127A, as well as staff from the Food Bank and Parks and Recreation Department. The planning of this event begins in September and is made possible by all the donations, whether monetary, food, or toys, from our local businesses and residents. This event has taken place for over 30 years and exemplifies the strong community bond that the officers of our police department have with the Old Bridge community. This year's families were treated to a buffet dinner, dessert, a face painter, a DJ, and a surprise visit by Santa himself and a few of his elves. Children were given personal gifts by Santa and even managed to snap pictures with Santa before he headed back to the North Pole. On behalf of the mayor and administration, I would like to thank Sergeant Ford and the local PBA 127 and 127A and all of the volunteers for putting together another great event. Thank you for making the holidays brighter for the residents of Old Bridge and for those in need. I also wanted to thank a lot of our lieutenants, captains, and our chief for stopping by and helping that evening as well. Thank you.
Very much. Does anyone have a question or a comment for Anna? Okay, seeing no hands, I will ask to accept her report.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Pescetti.
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman De Palma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes.
Councilman Pasquini?
Yes.
Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
And Council President Sohar?
Yes, thank you, Anna. Okay, next will be our public comment on any subject matter for a maximum period of 3 minutes. Okay,
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. This section is open for any topic or items in the consent agenda. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the Old Bridge Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. Only one member of the public shall approach to speak to council at a time. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. Should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the corresponding department's office during regular business hours. Township clerk will regulate the time during the comment portion of our meeting. As you approach the microphone, please state whether you are a resident of Old Bridge, no names and addresses.
Okay, good evening. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to be heard? Good evening.
I didn't really get the directions about no names, but I'm Stuart Alterman. I'm an attorney, and I represent Dominic Bolognese and also Louis Spina from the police department. They're two of your police officers. I'm here tonight because we feel, my clients feel, and I feel, that the town has abandoned them. On March 3rd, 2024, in the course of their duties, they were very injured. They were injured because they engaged in lethal force against the subject, and then they continued to perform their duties after they shot the subject several times, watching their rounds penetrate the subject, and then they gave aid to the subject and also gave aid to the victim in which the subject attacked. Now, the reason why I'm here is because these individuals were injured. They sought medical treatment, medical and psychological treatment, and they were turned away from your workers' compensation administrator. Workers' compensation in this state is nothing but an employer-managed care program that's employer-oriented and is for the benefit of the employer, not the employee. Yes, my office handles workers' comp cases, and the attorneys that are representing the two individuals also handle workers' comp cases. Workers' comp practice wouldn't exist if workers' comp was fair. It's not fair. It's not equitable. It stinks. But that's the reason why I'm here, because the town, for some reason, feels as though their treatment has to be guided by workers' comp. But we decided to file a grievance. So the grievance is pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement because there's certain language in there that provides sick time, authorized use of sick time, administrative pay, and continuation of pay. These officers haven't had a paycheck for months. It's Christmas time. I've written to the town attorney. I've written to the chief of police. I know that the chief of police has passed my correspondence along. But I don't know if the town knows what's really going on here. And what we need to do is we need to sit down and discuss this matter like true ladies and gentlemen for the benefit of Dominic Bolognese, who is a hero, and Louis Spina, who is a hero for the performance that they engaged in on March 3rd, 2024. Any questions? Can I answer any questions?
We're not allowed to ask questions.
You're not allowed to ask questions. All right, well, I wouldn't mind coming at another time, maybe an informal conference or having a Zoom to discuss this matter in further detail. But it's unconscionable to cut these individuals off from their pay. It's absolutely unconscionable. I practice up and down the state. I'm a state PBA attorney. I deal with many different towns and counties around the state. This is the only case I have. And by the way, I'm working on their pensions. This is the only case that I have where people have been cut off like
That's your
this
3
for
minutes,
months at
sir.
a time.
That's your
Pardon?
3 minutes. It's 3 minutes.
3 minutes,
Might I give myself another 3 minutes?
No.
No? Well,
Unfortunately,
How about
not.
me?
No.
How about, do I get 3 minutes?
yeah, you're a member of the public.
Okay, I don't think I can get through it. But I just want to say that this has been a very difficult time on my family, a very difficult time, and myself, okay? And I want to enjoy my life, and I want to stay on this planet, so please do the right thing.
The issue of mental health in police work is tantamount. And treating these individuals the way they've been treated, you're not really looking at the right perspective. Suicide among police officers is at an all-time high. Why? It's because how they're treated. It's the environment, it's their employers, it's the environment in which we're all living and working today. Hopefully when President Trump takes over, it gets a little bit better. But in the meantime, I would like to engage in a dialogue through the grievance process on an expedited basis and take care of this matter. Thank you very much and have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd like to say something. That's my son. It's not my son anymore. And I think all of you, if he was shot, would you make him a hero? He'd probably get a $2,500 check. You'd have a parade, you'd have something, you'd have his picture up on a wall. Thank God he didn't get shot. He saved someone. Do you know that he saved a woman getting stabbed? Do you know that he threw a blanket over her to protect her because she was nude? Do you know that when he had to shoot that gentleman, he went and saved him too? He's got a 1.5-year-old baby. And I'm looking at the attorney here. You have to know better. I'm sure you have children. I'm positive you have children. You're going to set a precedent for these police officers here that they're going to go out, they're going to know Dominic, they're going to know Lou, and they're going to say, look what happened to them. They got screwed. We're not doing anything. Why would they protect the public? For what reason? Nobody's backing them. You know, my son was a different person before this, and I'm saying it as a mother. He's just not right. And you have to help both of them. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to be heard this evening? You can come forward, please.
Hi, thank you, council members. I'm a resident here. I live in close by. And okay, my concern, my grievance is with the continued malicious lack of compliance with the noise ordinance by the Grand Marquis. They're on, I'm sure you're all familiar with the Grand Marquis, beautiful place. We're across Route 9, not next door to them, across Route 9. For years, they have late night events, DJ playing, fine, no problem, of course. They continue to play music, the bass especially, with such a high intensity that we literally feel it. It's not just hearing loud music. The vibrations like this coming all the way across the highway of Route 9 into our homes, into our beds, even on the second floor. Even just this past Saturday night, it was past midnight, and it was continually going on. We have called them countless times. We have called the police. Do not want to bother the police with this kind of stuff. Been forced to call the Old Bridge police to come and to go to them. Sometimes they comply. Sometimes after the police leave, they put it back up again. Obviously not having any respect for the police. But it's been going on literally for years. We call them, they hang up on us, they keep us waiting for half an hour, then say, oh, the manager can't speak to you, or they just don't answer the phone at all. We are literally at our wits' end. Don't know what else to do. They face no repercussions. I would think there's supposed to be some fines or something for them to be non-compliant with the noise ordinances. You know, I don't know where to go, what to do about this. It's literally like torture. I'm a medical professional. I literally have people's lives in my hands. If I can't get proper rest, I can't guarantee I'm at my best to give safe care. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm a resident of Old Bridge. I'm here regarding the noise disturbances from the Grand Marquis. So we have contacted the police multiple times. They go over there and they tell them to lower the volume, but it just happens again. So I have multiple police reports showing the repeated complaints. I have call logs where I've contacted them dozens of times. I've tried to contact the manager who kind of just doesn't want to talk to me. So even officers such as Officer Misich, she came over one time and said that she heard the noise from the Grand Marquis from a mile away. I've spoken with the manager, I've spoken with the security guard, valet members, the server manager. I've expressed how the bass resonates through the walls across the highway. It's kind of bizarre. It shouldn't really be resonating. We shouldn't really hear it. The police officers have said that we should hear the highway instead, and I agree. I've contacted the engineering department. I've contacted everybody that I can think of in the township regarding the noise ordinance and whether it applies to the businesses. And some people said that they didn't know. Some people said that it didn't apply. So I contacted the Middlesex County Health Division, and they said that it does apply to them. We also have a letter from our neighbor who say that they have been experiencing, suffering from, just been annoyed by the noise disturbances from the Grand Marquis as well for several years. They've called and nothing has been done about it. So I'm just asking the council to help me figure out a way to handle this properly, because I've just been going in circles, been bounced around. So I just want to get this resolved. I've tried to address it with them directly, but I've kind of just been getting nowhere. Thank you so much for your time and hearing me with this.
Could I ask that you would email me that with the complaints? It's mayor@oldbridge.com, and
Yes.
then we'll look into it tomorrow?
Yes, of course.
Because this is the first we heard of it.
Sure. If I can, maybe if I can get just like an extra day to get together everything just a little bit more.
Yeah, just
concisely.
email me. Yes.
Sure.
Email mayor and then we'll look into it.
Okay, I can find the email online.
Just mayor@oldbridge.com.
Oh, got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to be heard this evening? Okay, seeing no hands, I'll close public portion. We'll go to council comments.
Councilman Asatuli.
I don't know, I had something to say. Seeing that cop hit me hard. I'm worried about that guy.
So, Mr. Councilman Astor, the only thing I would say is there's pending litigation.
Mark, let me speak.
I know, but I'm just.
I got it. I'm just concerned
get
about
that,
his
but-
well-being. I understand what you're saying. Let me speak for a minute, and I'll get back to you. I'm really concerned about him and his family. I'm not talking about what's going on. I'm talking about just watching him. My father-in-law was a cop for 40 years. It's a tough gig. They go through a lot. They need to be heard. And when they're not heard, I'm not saying him in particular, it's very difficult. They put their life on the line every day. I know my father-in-law had 4 daughters, and they were worried about him coming home every night. I'm just concerned. I just pray that he's okay. Because when he left, and him not being here for his 1.5-year-old child, I don't know. I just pray for him. That's pretty much all I got to say.
Councilwoman DeCaro.
Yes, what I was going to say was just happy holidays and that was it, but, first I'm thankful that you guys are going to have some resolution, you're going to email, the mayor. But I am also truly heartbroken, at what we just witnessed, with this officer. I understand we're under litigation, so not too much can be shared. I can't really share anything because I don't know anything about it. This is the first time hearing about it, so I can't really speak to it. But it was truly heartbreaking, and I truly hope that we are able to help this man. And again, I know we're under litigation, so I'll refrain from saying more. But what I am going to ask is, can the council be briefed on what's going on? I know we're under litigation. Are we able to be privy to that, Mark?
So, again, I won't get in detail. We could probably, because there's outside counsel handling the workers' comp claim, the 2 compensation claims, and again, there's a pending grievance. So I can check with him to see his availability. Probably better hear from him. I mean, I know some information, but we're not handling the compensation claim because it goes through our carrier. So I'll check with him and see what his availability is.
I would truly like that. I really would love to see this resolved in a positive way. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Councilman De Palma.
Thank you. And I just hope the officer gets the help that he needs. It seems that there might be something there. So I know we had officers in the audience, and I know that our PBA and our police department will do the right thing. On a little bit of a different note, there have been a lot of great events that have been going on throughout town, especially with the holidays, and I would like to thank each of those organizations for putting those on, for the volunteer work that everyone is doing, especially this time of year, trying to bring happiness and joy to everyone during the holiday season. Thank you. Just today, I was at the McDivitt Winter Show for the 3rd graders, watching my daughter sing, as well as about probably 40 or 50 other 5th graders. It was great to see those children out. And also, I attended the Cops for Kids, just as the mayor did. A special thank you for the PBA on a very, very successful Cops for Kids holiday event. So many toys. It looked like I was walking into an old Toys R Us when I walked into to a portion of that building. So great work. Thank you, Sergeant Ford, and thank you to all of the officers that took their own time out to volunteer to be there and to help make a couple families' holidays a great one. And then also just happy holidays to everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful and joyous time with your loved ones, and please cherish that time you have with each other. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and have a happy and safe New Year. Thank you.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes, thank you. As a former cop, I feel for this cop. I feel bad for him. I pray for him, of course. I did my 25, I got out 10 years ago, so I know, excuse me. Getting off the subject, I as well, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. So thank you and have a good night.
Councilman Pasquini.
Yeah, I think we all can agree that was a heartbreaker. Look, I understand there's litigation and workman's comp and all that garbage, but, there's a guy that's hurting, and he was an employee of our town. So, I don't know what they expect us to do. We really can't do anything, as far as I know, except we're now all aware of what something's going on. Yeah, I also would, just pray for the guys. It's a tough situation. But I wish if we could do something, we could. whether it's financial to help out or our hands are tied because of legalities. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
Council Vice President, Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes, this is a time of year where it's a time of giving, and it's a time of reflection also, and you pray that everyone does enjoy the holidays, finds peace. So some of the things that have been going on around town, the Mama Mayor organization, which is a foundation that gives a free trip to a family who a family member had breast cancer, and they're dealing with it. And I'm happy to know that someone in our town, the Gallo family, Mrs. Gallo, I wish her all the best, and their family. They presented an event this past Saturday where many residents walked from Shiraz School to their home to surprise them with this. And then the fire trucks come and the first aid, and I think it's amazing. It's the first time really that I heard of this organization, this foundation, but it was really, really a beautiful ceremony to be there. And also at our schools, a lot of holiday events going on. And the Grissom School had a great event this past weekend, and it was for the kids where they could come and do different arts and crafts, and it was great to be there and see how much fun they were having. And then also in the beginning of, just a few weeks ago, we had, on 13th, we had our appreciation for the members of our community, or all the employees of the town, Employee Appreciation Day. And it was always a great event to see them and everything that they accomplished. And I want everyone who works in this town to know that you are appreciated. Obviously, everyone doesn't know everyone and actually what they do, but all collectively together, they make this town a great place to work and to make it a great place to live for everyone that lives here. And we are all touched, and, with the police department, we all are feeling that, and I just will pray for that family, and I just pray that things get moving along so there is resolution. But before we know that court cases do take a while, I just hope that the individuals involved get the help that they need and know that, the sun comes up tomorrow. It's a beautiful day. So I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate family and friends, and wishing you a lot of blessings of good health, joy, and happiness. Thank you.
Council President Soher.
Yes, I just want to wish everybody, of course, a happy and a healthy holiday season. What happened this evening is very difficult to listen to and to want to help, and we do. I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't want to do something to help. So hopefully things will move along and resolution will come, and we do pray for the families and all that's involved, all that are involved in this incident. As Dr. Greenberg said, there was so many events that's been going on the last few weeks, and there was we had a Business Alliance and a Homeowners Association meeting, and it was Toys for Tots. And I have to tell you, Old Bridge, once again, I'm amazed. How many trucks did we have filled with toys? Yeah, I mean, it was amazing how many. Yeah, people were just so generous, and that's the way this town is. Everybody, it's like a warm hug, and I really believe in that. People here just are amazing in what they're willing to do and help. And the Santas on the trucks, all the firemen, coming out and bringing Santa everywhere, And I'm outside my development, and the kids are just going bananas when they see Santa. And you know what? That is so nice of those firemen to bring him around, bring such cheer, holiday cheer to all of these children. So there is just so many wonderful people that live in this town. I really mean that, and I wish everybody really a blessing this holiday season. Have a great time. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, Councilman Asatuli?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeCaro?
Yes.
Councilman De Palma?
Yes.
Councilman Garcia? Has left the dais. Councilman Pasquini? Left the dais. Council Vice President Dr. Greenberg Belli? And Council President Sohar. Meeting adjourned at 9:11 PM. Next
Okay.
meeting, January 7th, 2025, at 7:30 PM.
Okay. Good night, everyone.